Hi gang, welcome back to the Unraised Latina Ever. Today I got something through my email. It was on voting, and the Bel Air Women's Group, they vote for people that are outstanding. And they gave three names, and the one person, I'm not going to tell everybody the names of the people, but the one person I voted on, the reason I voted on that person was, number one, I wrote the number one reason was I thought she was a kind and decent person. So today's topic is going to be on what leadership is, because people think, oh, the person that does the most, the person that does this, does that, and if you think about it in a biblical sense, you're not going to do your way into heaven. You're not going to go out and whoever does the most stuff for the church, but they're, stabbing everybody behind the back and being awful people and zealots. Those are not the people that are going to go to church. It's going to be the people that are kind of quietly going about things. And the reason I picked this person is I've never heard her say a bad word or gossip about anybody. She's really one of the most intellectual people I've ever talked to, and we have great conversations. And she's one of the few people that had taken the time to get to know me, the Henri Baricua, not judging me on the outside of who I am or what she thinks I am or the persona or the character that I portray, but really learning about who Dee Velez is. So anyway, a person that stood out in my lifetime who I thought was really great, and maybe she wasn't the same political person I was, her beliefs might not be the same as mine. She was a princess, and she was being interviewed before she died, and her name is Princess Grace Kelly. Her birthday was the day before mine. That'll always stand out for me, but she was one of the most amazing humanitarians, the most amazing people ever. And they asked her in an interview, what would you like to be remembered for? And she said, I'd like to be remembered for as being a kind and decent human being. That was huge. She didn't want to be remembered for being an actress or famous or doing all this other stuff for Hollywood. She just wanted to be remembered for being kind. And I think that sometimes when we do things in politics or whatever we do in life, the missing element there is kindness. For example, an example of a kind, compassionate leader is President Trump. Today he tweeted out a shout out for Jeb Bush Jr. And I think that's a really explains who he is as a person, that he is not going after anybody or he's not trying to get even with anybody, that he's going to be the bigger person and do the right thing because he cares and he's a compassionate human being. He's not a vindictive person. And so he's not going to penalize Jeb, for some of the things that some of the people in his family did. So he's overlooking all that stuff, and he's doing what's best for our country. And I think that's really important. Fox News, they have people that are my favorites, and one of my favorite people, I love her, I love her, I love her. She's so awesome. I never hear her say a negative word, and she doesn't go on a bitch fest with anybody. She gets along. She plays really good in the sandbox, and her name is Dana Perino. And Mr. Bush hired two blonde females that were very instrumental. There was Megyn Kelly, and there was Dana, and Megyn just kind of was so snippy, and she was kind of mean-spirited in her heart. And I didn't like the way she went after Mr. Trump and the way she behaved. And so anyway, I think she has that I guess that spirit inside her to be kind of vindictive, and she needs to work on that. Of course, I like Megyn in some aspects because I think that she's very funny. She's personable, and she's got a lot of charm as well. But Dana really stood out as a leader for me. Maybe it's a dog thing. I don't know. I like dogs. She likes dogs. We like dogs, And I mean, dog people are generally really fun people. But just the way she talks about Jasper and stuff like that is kind of the way I talk about Buddy. And I had a golden retriever named Buddy. He was my baby. He actually had a binky. He had a broken leg too. A broken leg and a binky. He'd sit there, on the curb, with his leg up in the cast behind his head with his binky, and people would walk by and they're like, hey, that puppy is looking kind of freaky. It's got a binky and a broken leg. And of course the puppy was mine, and people were all cracking up, and it was the most amazing puppy ever. And Buddy turned out to be the most amazing dog too. He was he was like a person. Like he would sit in the passenger seat and put his arm on the armrest. He just thought he was a human. And anyway, he was absolutely fabulous, and our first pet. And we decided to get a dog before we had kids because we were very irresponsible. So we kind of wanted to kind of ease into all that stuff. And he taught us a lot. And with that said, we're talking about compassion. Bill, like, stop it. He's distracting me behind the camera. I can't do that. I have ADHD, and we have the camera guy not focusing on my words. He's just like doing his own thing back there. Anyway, pay attention, Bill. We have a thing about leaders that get out there and they're self-serving. And I see this a lot in the Republican Party. You have these do-gooders that they file around every candidate, and they're like da 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 da. And I just don't have time for those kind of people. And so I occasionally will come out and support somebody I really believe in. I'm really passionate, but the whole like office politics, it's like I don't want to get into it. And just give me my own little room, my cubicle with my coffee and donuts or whatever, and let me do my thing. But the thing about it is, it is an ugly business, and I think it is because there's some ugly people behind the scenes operating it, and they're very manipulating, and they're not in it for the right reasons. And I think that's why Mr. Trump has had a huge turnover in people and in employees, because you get people that are in there and they're self-serving and they're backstabbing, and he just wants to get rid of all that negative bullshit and clean house, and that's okay. I really feel bad for this man who wants to get a whole bunch of stuff done, because there are a lot of people out there that are opposing what he wants to get done. And I think that because he's not a non-politician, he wants to do what's best for the people, which is really extremely rare because we don't get too many of those kind of people. So good for him. He tweeted this morning about Jeb, and I thought that was really cool. And I wanted to put that out there. As far as the other gal that I voted for, I really don't think she's going to get it, only because of the politics behind the things. Sometimes they give things to different people for different reasons. It doesn't mean that those people are any better than the person that you picked. It means that maybe other people have other ideas of what's great. What I really think is great is people beyond the external, looking into their heart and their souls and what they stand for in their hearts, and not to judge them by their outer shell, because some of the most prettiest and perfect people that come off like, so perfect, have a real mean-spirited way. And there's one lady that I really think that was very phony. She deleted me on Facebook, whatever, I don't care. I don't hold it against her, but the fact is that, she just has this very nasty vibe about her. So I feel like when you're like that with people, you think you're better than them. I don't think that's leadership. Leadership is walking with Jesus. It's having that altruism, like my candidate, and not expecting anything in return. Because I know, if my person doesn't get it, she's going to be just fine with it, because she doesn't do the things for the awards. She does the things because she's just passionate about it. And when you're doing the things for the right reason, it comes across in the right way. With that said, you guys have a blessed day. Bye, adios, and be kind.